Hi, this is Forrest Lightbird with the Santa Barbara Response Network. Welcome to tonight's Compassion Center broadcast. We're here with our very special guest from Domestic Violence Solutions. Her name is Zahida Pacheco, as well as with Gina Carvalho, who's one of our co-founders. And I'd like to pass this along to them for a few moments to briefly introduce themselves.
So I'm Gina Carvalho. I'm the executive director for the Santa Barbara Response Network and part of the executive team. And I've been with SBRN from the beginning, going on 12 years. And I'm really happy to be here today with our guest, Zahida, and I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zahida Pacheco. I'm the Director of Client Services at Domestic Violence Solutions, and I've been with DVS for about 4.5 years.
And I'm very pleased to have Zahida here today. I've been wanting to have someone from Domestic Violence Solutions to highlight their work during the COVID-19 epidemic because we've all heard in the news that there is an increase in domestic violence, and we wanted to speak directly with people who are involved in such valuable work in our community. And we're really so grateful that Zahida and her team are here. So I'm really pleased to have this conversation with you to share with our community just how much is here and what you're doing. So thank you very much for being part of this today. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much. And so to start off here, I want to ask what issues or concerns you're seeing at Domestic Violence Solutions with families and children during this just incredibly unprecedented time that presents so many unique challenges.
Right.
What are you seeing right now?
So we can start off with the clients that we have at our shelters. So we obviously have our emergency shelters, and then we also man a 24-hour crisis line. So we are seeing similar issues and hearing similar issues with both populations, but specifically at our emergency shelter, since we do see them on a daily basis, do sit down and do case management with them, we are seeing that there is this fear of financial uncertainty. So one, they've left their homes, so they're with us, so that's great. They're safe, they're in a safe place, but now comes the fear of what comes next. Financially, they're not sure what the next couple of months are going to bring. Some of our clients have lost their jobs due to COVID. And so not only do they have to, work through their trauma of everything that they've endured, but now they're having to also, deal with the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Financially, it's not looking so good for a lot of them. And also for the clients that are having to homeschool their kids, it's also learning how to, virtually, connect with other people or connecting their kids to school. So there's definitely a lot of challenges that we're seeing. Some that we ourselves as advocates were not prepared for. So we really are trying our best to sort of provide them with this, safety net in regards to, we normally do a 45 to 60 day emergency shelter. But ever since the whole shelter in place came into play, we sort of relaxed our exit dates, and we have let our clients know that their exit dates are dependent on the circumstances. So we really are just playing it by ear. We want them to know that we're all in this together, and so we clearly see that apart from just the DV and everything that comes with that they're having to deal with, whether it's filing for custody, restraining order, now they're having to figure out how are they going to make ends meet, and so we really are trying to first and foremost provide them with a safe place so that their kids and our clients can heal from the trauma, but also move forward and find stability for themselves in the long run. So that's sort of what we're seeing at the shelters, where the parents are sort of like, well, I don't know what's going to come next. And on top of that, I'm having to figure out how to Zoom. And so it's definitely been interesting, but we're getting through it together. Now, with our callers, individuals that have not come into our shelter yet, we have seen that there's uncertainty about what's best for their family at the time. So what decision to make next. So in general, to leave an abusive situation is difficult within itself. I've had individuals who have called our crisis line and safety planned with me for over 3 months before they're actually able to leave the abusive situation on a regular non-pandemic time. So to throw the COVID-19 into the mix, it's definitely made things a lot harder. A lot of our clients are calling and saying, I don't know if this is the best time to leave, for many reasons. Is it safe to go into a shelter? What does a shelter look like? Is it communal living? What protocols are put into place? Am I putting my children's lives into jeopardy by leaving? So they're kind of weighing out the pros and cons of staying in these toxic situations, and then also possibly in their eyes putting their kids' health and lives in jeopardy by leaving their safe environment that they've been sheltering in. So it's definitely added a whole nother layer, and we're dealing with two possibly very dangerous situations that can result in the death of someone, right? We have COVID-19, and then we have the domestic violence. So it's definitely taken our advocates to really look into what we as a community have going on, protocols that are set, with COVID, and then also how we as an organization are going to run and make sure that we continue to be of support, while maintaining the safety, social distancing, and or physical distancing, as we like to say in our organization, because we still very much try to be social with them, and so more of that physical distancing. So it's been a challenge, but really what we encourage all our callers and the community is to just call if you're not ready for whatever reason. If it has to do with COVID-19 uncertainties, give us a call. We can always safety plan, and what today looks like may not be the same tomorrow. So our advocates are ready. Our 24-hour crisis lines are ready and set for any questions or any safety planning that is needed. So it is a rocky and hard time, but we're still open. We're still taking in our clients, and we still want to be of support to the community.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to say that so you have services here, but also in North County as well, right?
Yeah.
Zahida. So it's Santa Maria, Santa Barbara, any other locations?
So our emergency shelters are here in Santa Barbara and in Santa Maria, but we do have an advocate that is working out of Lompoc, and so she's doing case management and support to that part of the county. So we really do cover from Santa Barbara to Santa Maria. So yeah.
Wow. And one thing you mentioned that I was very curious about when you said callers call in and they want to know what does the shelter look like? I mean, like you said, is it communal living? Can you talk a little bit about what the shelter is and what a person can expect going into a shelter?
So our Santa Barbara shelter is communal living. So I always tell callers it's a house. It's a big house, and every family or individual gets their own room. Right, especially now with our COVID-19. So everyone does get their own room, but the living room, the kitchen, and the restrooms are shared. So for that reason, we have limited our number of families that we are, and at the time, not taking in any clients at our Santa Barbara shelter, just as a safety protocol that we have set. But our Santa Maria shelter, it is an apartment complex. So I believe it's 9 apartment complexes, and they're 2 bedrooms. So what we're doing is we're putting each family, we're trying to put each family in their own apartment. And as we're getting callers, we will put them in their own room. But that's it would be top 2 families per apartment. So we have a little more room for the physical distancing with that. So we've continued to just bring on our clients mainly to our Santa Maria, which we've seen that a lot of the clients feel a lot safer with that as well. So instead of having like 8 families in one house. So yeah, that's sort of what the layouts are of the emergency shelters.
Sure, sure. Wow.
That's wonderful.
I didn't even
That's
know
wonderful that you have to call in too.
that there is a resource like that. I had no clue that was even available. So that is just awesome. That's just amazing. Are there any other services that you offer that you'd like to share about with our viewers?
Yeah. So I think for those that know of our organization, which is our biggest service, is our emergency shelters. But I always, push our advocates to, inform all of our callers and the community that it's, maybe someone's not ready for shelter for whatever reason that it may be, but we still provide other resources. So we have our emergency shelter, our 24-hour crisis line. We have advocates that meet with non-residential clients, so clients that are just out in the community that want support, or whatever it is that they feel they need, that doesn't have to do with going into our shelter. We have advocates that specifically focus on that. We also have counseling, and our counseling has now opened up to the community. So we're doing it virtually. So now we're able to open it up to not just our residents, our shelter residents, but just any community caller that is seeking counseling. So we've expanded that. And also we have a life and job skills coordinator who does case management with our shelter clients, but also just anyone out in the community who's wanting support with like resume help. She also does, helps them out if they're wanting to go back to school. What does that look like? What options do they have for financial support? And so she touches on all of that good stuff. And then what I feel is probably really going to start to pick up is our Housing First. So our Housing First advocates focus on working with our clients and callers from the community to sort of assess what their needs are, so we can help with security deposits, rental assistance, moving assistance if someone's moving from an apartment or the shelter into an apartment, children needs, emergency shelter. So if someone needs to stay at a hotel overnight, they don't want to come into our shelter. So they manage more of the like financial support. So if someone doesn't necessarily need shelter, but needs help, with some of their rent being covered, bills, with all of the financial uncertainty, that is something that we also help with.
What amazing resources. I'm just so impressed. Thank you. I mean, we're so lucky to have this, and I really hope the community knows just what a sympathetic and giving organization. I want to give your number if that's okay. So this is Domestic Violence Solutions. So they have a website, dvsolutions.org. But the phone number, if people are listening, 805-964-5245. And we'll have that on our Facebook, by the way, but it's 964-5245. And I also want to share that we have a Spanish Facebook Live with Santa Barbara Response Network. And I've offered you as a Spanish speaker to be also being interviewed on the Spanish speaking Compassion Center. So I want our community to know that this information will also be shared with our Spanish speaking community. So we're so fortunate that you can really speak to both English and Spanish community members. Thank you. So
Absolutely. But hey, I want to also ask you, because so many people and families are, because there's so much stress right now
Yeah.
that so many of us are feeling, as I'm sure everyone in this call has been feeling too. Um, what what would you suggest as ways to manage those emotions and manage that stress? What tips or advice would you have for people who are raising children who might be homeschooling their children or are unable to go out of the home for support?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest topics that our therapists are constantly checking in with our clients about, our advocates. Um, so I've seen a huge, outpour of support from the community for these families. So aside from DVS, we've had organizations reach out to see if our families are in need of a tablet, internet. Do they have access to a computer? And if not, then let's get them connected with that. So that's been amazing. We've definitely used up those resources and have connected all of our clients. So all of our clients are now ready to go, and have been. So that's been really great. I've been really grateful. All of our advocates. I mean, we've seen such a fast turnaround when we ask for a computer. It's like by the next day for sure we have a computer set for these families or a tablet. So that's been amazing. It definitely is something, as I mentioned earlier, that none of us were prepared for. I don't think the schools, the families. So it's definitely been a challenge. But I always tell the families, we're all in this together. Don't come down on yourself so hard for, not getting the Zoom or feeling that you don't have the skills to help your kids with this new math that none of us know, how to work out. So, we're all trying to survive, and we're all trying to figure this out and take it day by day. And so that's one of the things that I always tell the families and the moms is, don't put yourself down for this. Do what you can, do as best as you can, and also hold those standards for your kids where they're struggling. This certain subject might have been difficult for them before when they had an in-person teacher and support. Just throw in the mix of now having to do it behind a camera. And so that's something that I always, remind the parents and tell our advocates, remind them that they're doing a good job. We're all in this together. We're all trying to figure it out. It's not just them. I have Zoom meetings, and sometimes I'm like, wait, what am I doing on here? So really, it's just reminding ourselves that it's, none of us expected for this to happen. We're working with what we can and doing the best that we can. And so just reminding them, like, when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, or, your children are starting to feel, I've had, actually, I was talking to one of our therapists, and she says, yeah, that's definitely the number one topic that is brought up from both the children and the adults, where it's the children are feeling frustrated and like they're not, getting what they should be getting. And the parents are feeling like, now this is just an extra thing that I have to do, and I don't think I have the skills for it. And so, one of the things that I always tell them is, when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, when it's safe and appropriate, go out for a walk. Take your kids out on a quick little bike ride to the beach. And so I know a lot of them were like really afraid to even step out of their apartment. And it got to a point where they were like, I can't do this anymore. I would be like, it's okay to take a step out. It's okay to go for a walk. Make sure you maintain your distance. If you want to wear a mask, we've been, our Santa Maria staff got connected with this group of ladies. They're named Happy Hookers. And so they made all these masks for us. And so we've been able to provide them to our clients and their children. So now they feel a lot more comfortable being able to go out with their mask. But yeah, definitely that's one of the things. Self-care is probably most important now. And I know that we may not be able to do it the way that we used to do it. So, going to the gym or, just going shopping, retail shopping, but let's get creative with it. What else have you always wanted to try? And so providing them with materials to, start an art project. We've also connected with Print Power, and we were going to be doing an art project with them. And unfortunately that was canceled. And so what they did is they sent out each individual client little folder with, art supplies so that they can, create a postcard and send it back to them or send it to someone else, a family member that they haven't talked to or whatever it may be. So it's just getting creative with, keeping our minds busy and focused on other things that are not COVID related, that are not school related, that are not work related. So it's really just getting creative, not bringing ourselves down, and just really focusing on self-care and being able to identify when one is starting to feel very, stuck, overwhelmed, and knowing who they can reach out to. So that's, our therapists have been an amazing part to helping our clients with all of that.
That's so impressive. Thank you.
How long have you been? How long ago were you founded? The domestic violence solutions.
Oh, good question. That is a good question that I will need to get back to you on.
Well, it just seems like it's so extensive,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that takes time to build up like that.
And a lot of these programs, are basic shelter and stuff, but we've definitely changed a lot of our services within the last year and a half. And I think a lot of that is with all the changes with our new executive director, just having an amazing support just really goes a long way. And I think I always say it shows within our services and within our staff. So a lot of these big changes, I would say, happened within the last year and a half. So I love working with DVS. I feel that everyone is really genuinely in it to support this specific population. And so, yeah, we're trying.
This is such a valuable conversation, because as you were talking, I know I'm an immigrant, and when I came over from Portugal, I'm Portuguese, I didn't speak the language, and I heard about a lot of domestic violence in my own family. My aunts, uncles, there was, and no one talked about it. Mm-hmm. No one did anything about it. Mm-hmm. The kids just kept quiet about it. My age, I'm 67. So, and those days there wasn't let's call and find support for domestic violence. No one talked about it. It was a secret. Mm-hmm. And I think that so much has happened in the advocate and in advocating for these families and children who now can speak up and say, you know what, I'm in a violent situation. Mm-hmm. It was just something you didn't talk about. Mm-hmm. It was just put aside. Well, he's a good guy or she's a good person, and why would you want to leave? And so the fact that you're advocating for people who are in situations that are violent, are dangerous, mm-hmm. Degrading, and say, hey, it's okay. You can have a different life. Mm-hmm. You can have a life that doesn't include that. You have a right mm-hmm. to a life that doesn't include violence and shame and humiliation. When I saw these things happen in my lifetime, I was like, wow, I wish my cousins could have benefited from, this kind of, very quiet secrecy. So this is something close to my heart because I witnessed this as a child, and it's very hard. It's very hard on children to see this, and that they can have a place to go like DVS. I'm just wonderful.
Yeah.
Destigmatize them,
Right.
and
Right.
it's okay. You deserve it. Yeah, you're not a bad person. You're not, So thank you.
Thank you.
So as we come to the final few moments here, I just want to ask if there's anything more you'd like to share with the families and communities watching this as we move through this challenging time of lockdowns and COVID-19. What other messages might you have, and might you have on behalf of Domestic Violence Solutions?
I think the biggest thing that I always tell anyone that I come across is that, you know, no one should have to, go through DV, and it's really unfortunate that individuals are sort of stuck in this, um, stuck between a rock and a hard place right now with everything that's going on, and I can only imagine. And so the one thing that I always tell individuals is just call our crisis line. If you know someone, I feel like individuals always think, if the crisis line is only meant for individuals that are going through the DV. And it's not. It's for everyone. Just this knowledge about the services that we provide and what the psychoeducation on what domestic violence is, what it looks like. It's really important for everyone to know, and be able to spread the word and provide support, because more often than not, we all know someone that has gone through it or that is going through it. And so I think that it's always best for it to come from someone who is trusted, and that may not be us right away. And so I always tell individuals, gain as much information as you can from us. If you're a loved one or a friend who knows someone that is going through this, call our crisis line. Get the information that you think your friend needs, and pass that on. And so that's one of the things. Santa Barbara community, you are not in this alone. We are here to help in any way that we can. It doesn't mean shelter. We're here to provide the support and meet you where you're at. If someone wants to call and doesn't want to leave their name, they can remain anonymous. We won't pressure them to give us their name. If they just want information and start there, then we welcome all calls. No call is a silly call. It's just starting somewhere. And so I also ask the community of Santa Barbara to be informed with what our services are and plant that seed, because really that's sometimes all it takes for someone to realize that they're not in a good situation and that they deserve better and that there is help and that they're not alone in this. So give us a call, get as much information and pass it along to a neighbor who may know someone then. So we're here 24 hours, 7 days a week. Our number is 805-964-5245.
Absolutely. And your website is
Wonderful.
What's your website link?
So let me double check.
I think it's dvsolutions.org.
Yes, it is dvsolutions.org.
www.dvsolutions.org.
Correct.
Great. So good.
And English, Spanish, North County, South County. These people are there for you. And as you can see from this interview, that there's people with a lot of heart. They'll protect you. There's no need to be afraid to call. There's no risk in calling. You're only going to get support, and you're only going to get more support for being in a situation that you're comfortable being in. So I'm very honored to have you here today, and I really appreciate how forthcoming and how articulate you were about what's going on, and look forward to having you on our Spanish speaking interview as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And for the listeners, Gina, can you
Okay.
share, Gina, for just a brief moment about the psychological first aid services from the Santa Barbara Response Network, just because we are hosting this. So um,
Yeah,
psychological first aid,
absolutely.
what is that?
So
Just
what,
a brief statement. What is that and how can people access it?
so if you call the Santa Barbara Response Network, which is 699-5608, that's 699-5608, you'll get a call, an answer in English and Spanish, or a live person usually. And this is for anyone who's been impacted by trauma. So let's say you've seen an incident, or you've witnessed something, or you've been impacted by any form of trauma. It could be domestic violence, it could be suicide, it could be violence of any form, a natural disaster. We have trained volunteers in psychological first aid, which is a method of responding to anyone who's been affected by trauma. It's a very simple sort of regulating, calming approach to being with a person who's in a lot of pain. So being present, our volunteers are all trained and certified to offer psychological first aid. So if you call, we can do it by phone now, obviously, but we used to go in teams to homes and community centers or wherever anyone was affected. And we just really are present with the person, find out what their needs are, how we can help, just to calm the situation. And then we do a warm handoff to agencies like DVS. Let's say that there was domestic violence, then we do a warm handoff to the agency. We get them to the next link of service. We do not provide therapy. We're like the good neighbor. We're like the person that comes in and says, how can I help you? I'm another community member. I just feel for what you're going through, and I'm here to help you. Just friend to friend, community member to community member. So we have volunteers from high school age to people in their 80s and 90s, every possible profession. And we have a team of people waiting to respond if anybody needs just some psychological support. So we're here for you in the community, just like DVS is there for a very specific clientele. We have a broader range, and we're happy to support any DVS families that might need just a quick check-in.
Absolutely. And the website for the Santa Barbara Response Network is www. SBResponsenetwork.org. So you can do that there.
SB, and we're currently yeah, that's correct. And we're currently created a YouTube channel, and we're downloading all these interviews like this one onto our YouTube channel and other things. We even have some small online trainings on psychological first aid, English and Spanish. So we're going to be downloading all of that. It's being done right now. So people can go to the YouTube channel as well. And that'll be, we'll be publicizing that.
And the phone number
and
is.
We're part of the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
699-5608.
699-5608. 805 area code.
Mm-hmm.
Great. What were you just saying?
805-699-5608. And we are part of a broad umbrella called the Community Wellness Team. So I'm in that with about 20 other mental health agencies. So we're hearing from all the, what's going on in the community so that we can respond. So I'm part of that too, the Community Wellness Team.
Very well.
So thank you. Thank you, Zahida.
Thank
I
you.
hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you're safe to do your work and to continue supporting our community. Thank you. So meaningful. Thank you, Forrest.
Absolutely. Thank you
for
so
hosting
much for the opportunity to help moderate here. And thank you to our listeners. Please contact us or Domestic Violence Solutions for yourself or anybody who, or pass along the information to anybody who you feel it would be valuable for and resourceful for. Any final words from either of you?
I'm okay.
Just a thank you.
Thank you.
I'm okay. We're okay. We're together. We're a community together, right, Zahida? We're in
Correct.
this together.
We are.
Well, in that completeness, I think we will conclude. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you on Monday for the next English Compassion Center broadcast. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Spanish. Take good care.